Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Bitcoin Developers live stream. I am your host, Connor Okus. Happy to be with you today. We've got another amazing episode for you to learn and get educated on how to get involved in Bitcoin development. Very hands-on. What have I been up to? Oh, this week I discovered I've actually made it. I've officially made it because now I've got an imposter account on Twitter actually. So for the first time, I got a message from one of my good friends yesterday saying like, "Oh, Connor, what's going on here? Like you DM me, it doesn't really sound like you, or this is not how you'd 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 message me, like what's going on." So I've officially made it, if that is the stamp of approval to say that you've made it. So if you do see any weird messages from me on Twitter, just know that I wouldn't do such a thing, and you should report those accounts instantly. What else has been going on, man? Like, it's a bit of a semi-productive week with the World Cup going on. So let me know if you've been tuning into the World Cup. I think we're gonna have the Spanish contingent might be with us today because of who our guest is, but we'll get to that in a second. You mean you're not sending me any Bitcoin? Yeah, I mean, if you report the imposters, I might consider sending people some Bitcoin. Buy signal confirmed. Yeah, I love that. So don't forget as well, let me quickly share my screen. What do I want to share? Yeah, I want to share this window actually, because I want to remind you that you can still head over to our YouTube channel where you can watch all of the latest videos that we've been recording. All the live streams get recorded and uploaded to YouTube after the fact. In the last episode, we had a good stream with Drew, who took us through BIP 324, BIP 324, which is an improvement on Bitcoin's like P2P layer part of the protocol, and a real solid improvement on privacy. Before that, we had Eric, who took us through rapid gossip sync if you're into like LDK and stuff, and wanting faster sync of the network graph. We went through that. So we've got a wide variety of different topics and things, everything from like mobile development to core protocol stuff. So yeah, definitely love to see the numbers increase. They're at like 512. So where can we get to by the end of the year? Let's see where we get to with that. But enough of me kind of blabbering on. I'd like to introduce my guest today. We have Sergi. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, Connor. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Thanks for joining me today. You must be in good spirits, man, because like the Spanish team have just the Spanish football team have just put on an absolute masterclass. I think they won 7 or 8 nils.
Honestly, I was not following because like
Okay.
today I was doing Watchtower presentation in my old uni for like some students to like learn a little bit about
Okay.
Watchtower and so on. Then I came back, started to like prep for this. So my day today has been like presentation after presentation.
Okay. Yeah, focusing
That's
on
all I
more.
heard. That like Spain has
Yeah.
done a good job today.
Yeah, focusing more on important things. If you are Spanish and you're tuning in from Spain, please let us know in the comments. This is a worldwide. We try and focus on like everywhere. This is worldwide adoption we're trying to build for here. So we definitely encourage people to tune in from anywhere around the world. But Sergi, talk to us a bit about your kind of Bitcoin story and like how you got into Bitcoin.
Mhm. So I got into Bitcoin around 2015 when I was in uni. I was finishing my degree in computer science, and I was thinking about like what to do afterwards. So I was kind of like unsure. I didn't know exactly what to do. I wanted to like go abroad, maybe work from the States or from the UK. I was kind of a bit tired of the scenery, computer science related in Spain. And at that time, I was mostly interested in distributed networks, so haven't heard much about Bitcoin yet. Uh, then, as I was saying, I was finishing my degree, started to do some security stuff like infosec and stuff like that in my last year, and kind of like found these like matching interest between networking, which I loved at the time, and infosec. And what ended up being my thesis advisor told me a little bit about Bitcoin. Like he was doing some research about it, so it was like, maybe you may be interested in like continuing in uni, like doing a master's and do a PhD here, focusing on Bitcoin and like do some studies on this. So at the beginning, I was not that sure, mainly because I didn't want to stick to uni. But then when I started learning about Bitcoin, it was okay. So I have the opportunity to learn about this thing, which is super interesting, and there are not much people like doing research on this at the moment. So it's like a great opportunity to get paid, not well, to be honest, because at that time like my salary was shit, but at least I was being paid for study Bitcoin, which is something quite rare.
Yeah.
So I thought, hey, you know what? Let's give it a go. It seems interesting, so why not? After the first year on my master's, I became like completely obsessed with it. Like I wanted to learn more and like to learn the things, like how things work, how things actually work. I knew like the kind of like top or like top layer like explanation of how things work, but I wanted to like know about the actual stuff. So went into the details, like the implementation and so on. And that took me like 3 to 4 years during my PhD. So I ended up like graduating around 2018. At that time, I had my first like proper presentation in a Bitcoin conference, which was scaling Bitcoin in Tokyo, and then moved to the UK to work for the InfoSec department in there, doing more Bitcoin and Lightning stuff as a postdoc. After a year or so there, I started to like play a little bit with Watchtowers, with the idea of Watchtowers and implementing them, try to open source them and like have them working between different implementations without having to like depend on one single implementation for both the tower and the node. So the idea was, okay, this is pretty simple conceptually, so it could work for any of the implementations. So that's how the whole life Satoshi thing started to kind of like play it out. After a year, I applied for the Square grant to work on this and got it around 2020. And the rest, I guess, is history. That from that point on, I've been working on this thanks to you guys. Today, we're going to see a little bit about how they work and how they are built.
Okay, fantastic. So your journey into Bitcoin is quite interesting. So you studied it and stuff at university, which not that many people get an opportunity to do really. I think I know only maybe like one or two others that have done like PhDs or masters around Bitcoin. Like one, would you?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, well, would you? Is it something you'd like to see more of in like the educational system, like whether it be like in Spain, Europe in general, or just worldwide? Do you think it's something that should be like an additional how they call them, like additional unit or like an additional subject matter as part of a computer science degree?
Curriculum.
A curriculum.
I think so. So I mean, for me, it was a strange and kind of like one of a lifetime opportunity. Mainly, again, I'm talking about 2015, so there was no funding for this anywhere. So the people who may have funding at the time were people employed by the bigger companies in the space. So either like some big exchange or Blockstream. So that was mainly it. There was no Lightning Network, nothing like that. It was like pure Bitcoin. Not even Segwit at the time. I think Segwit came a little bit after that. So like being able to work in the space full time was something quite rare. And that's something I realized like pretty early on. So now I think things have changed quite a bit. There's a lot of educational things going on, either like development workshops or courses, or like some uni degrees and stuff like that are kind of like built around cryptocurrencies in this sense, but like some
Yeah.
Bitcoin start. Sorry. So of course, I think it's something that can be definitely studied in uni and can be included in the curriculum, and that's something I've been pushing for the longest time. I don't think
Okay.
it's something necessary, so like people can learn this without having to like go to uni whatsoever. A lot of us, well, not me. I mean, I don't feel within this. I already told it, right? But a lot of people in the community don't have a computer science degree or anything like that. There's a lot of like self-taught people in the space. There's a lot of good resources in multiple languages these days. So I think the communities around the world are actually doing a great work on like making free like materials for people to learn. But yeah, I think if it can be also included in uni curriculum, that would be amazing, because that's also a way of like getting some people who are already knowledgeable about how CS work, how like coding work, and so on.
Okay, that sounds good. And two questions before we kind of move on a little bit. One is, what advice would you? Well, no, let's go with this one first, and end with maybe the more positive one. Like, how does it feel developing and being a developer in like a bear market, when like the sentiment around Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is a bit negative? Does it affect you and how you work and your productivity, or does it not really affect you? Kind of just tunnel vision on what you're working on.
I love it. I mean, for me, the bear market is the best like time to build. Zero noise,
Okay.
you are not bothered whatsoever. You just use your time to build. There are some like downsides, of course, because normally people use the stuff more during the bull market. They get more interested in the things that are built and test them out more. So there's more interest, like global interest in what's going on, right? But there's also more noise, and I don't think noise helps whatsoever. In my case, I've been building in the bear market, like for this is like my second bear market building, and it's just calmer. You can like focus on what you do. You don't have to like care about most of the stuff. You just build. If you believe in it, you build. I mean, if you're here just because it's the bull market, that's your first mistake, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes total sense. And yeah, what advice would you give to anyone who wants to get involved in Bitcoin and Lightning development?
Well, for me, it would be first to identify what you like. So, what kind of project you like, or maybe what general stuff you like. Maybe you like Lightning better than Bitcoin, or you like networking better than crypto, or crypto as in cryptography, of course. Just identify whatever you like to work on, and then find a project you feel interesting, and try to contribute to it. Like go through good first issues, or maybe like join Slack or Discord or whatever thing they are using, and like start asking questions about like how things work. Just show some interest, because if you do, then you may end up like doing some of the stuff that is like piling there, and like some kind of like good first issues, or things like that, or some testing, or some documentation, or some things that will help you build up your knowledge in the project. And from that point on, I think you can actually start contributing, and that's something it's really important, because there are a lot of projects who are mainly lacking reviews, and I think that actually even like core lacks that kind of stuff. So every single major project is lacking a lot of reviewers. And if you can end up like reviewing some code, even just acknowledge, even just from a conceptual level, like I think this makes sense, or that doesn't make sense because of this. Fresh set of eyes, I think, always help. And well, I mean, if you think about core, right, that's a huge project. Like the complexity of that, it's quite big. But there are smaller projects where you may actually be able to start contributing to, and build up your knowledge to maybe switch to something bigger later. So I think, and I'm gonna kind of like paraphrase Jonathan here, but the most important thing is showing up. It's just like be there and keep showing up until you build your confidence or your knowledge. That's how I guess like everyone has done it. So yeah, that's my advice.
Awesome, makes sense. And I'm gonna share my screen again quickly here. Just let's see, so people know where to kind of follow you. Is like a Twitter a good place to follow some of your work?
Yeah, it's that there's. I use Twitter mainly for like gifs and sharing my work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, awesome. And the project, which we're going to talk about in a bit more detail in a second, has its own Twitter account as well, the Eye of
Yeah.
Satoshi.
Yeah.
At
Tweets
Eye of
from
Satoshi.
development in there either come from the I Satoshi account or from my account. So
Cool. And we'll quickly just show the GitHub repository for the Eye of Satoshi as well. And before I hand over to you to explain a bit more about what it is, just before you go into your brief presentation, what was the like catalyst moment for wanting to build the Watchtower project, the Eye of Satoshi project?
well, for me, it was something that felt that needed to be there. So Lightning added some what's a word?
Or maybe at this point, actually, might be a good place to go
Mhm.
into your presentation, actually, because that might
Yeah,
just explain it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can.
So, yeah.
Should I?
So we'll do something a bit different today. We'll let Sergi share his screen, and he's gonna
Okay.
go through a couple of the basics of what watchtowers are and how they work, and then explain what we're going to be doing in our demo today.
I may have to like change a little bit the order and stuff, but yeah, let
Yeah, no
me
problem. Yeah, it's okay.
see if you can share my whole screen. I'll share the whole screen and then just switch
Okay.
to the presentation. So yeah, I cannot see myself anymore. Let me know if you can see. The
Yeah, all
screen.
good. Yeah, it looks great.
All right. So as I was saying, Lightning added some assumptions that we didn't have in Bitcoin at the time. So for in Bitcoin, as long as you had your keys properly secure and you were not sharing some of the information you shouldn't be, you were mainly safe, right? Like if SHA-256 is not broken and there's nothing going on with ECDSA or Schnorr these days, you were safe. But with Lightning, you had the assumption that you needed to be either always online or online at regular like timeframes, because otherwise your counterparty could cheat, right? It's kind of like if you're not there and your counterparty tries to use an old state and an old state from the channel to close it, and you're not there to react, then you may end up in a situation in where you receive less funds than what you were entitled to, right? So at the time when I started looking into this, there was a single implementation of Watchtowers. L&D was working on it, but it was still not released. There was the Bitcoin Lightning Wallet implementation, which, to the best of my knowledge, was the first, and that was called Olympus, if I'm not mistaken, and worked only for Bitcoin Lightning Wallet, which the version before Simple Bitcoin Wallet, which is a kind of redesign of the whole thing. Then L&D was building its own, but it was only working for L&D, and there was also Electrum, which was building its own, but was only working also for Electrum, as much as I know, right? So for me, it was like kind of a waste of engineering power, saying, okay, we have three different node implementations, we have three different watchtowers that cannot talk to each other. So what if I want to like have an L&D watchtower, an L&D node, and connect that to my Electrum watchtower, or use Olympus or any of the other like kind of like like ways around, right? So the thing is that when I started looking into the problem, I realized that a watchtower doesn't need anything but a Bitcoin node underneath to like query the information that you end up requiring, which is block information. That's the only thing you care about. You don't know anything about channels, you don't know anything about nodes, you don't know anything about the Lightning Network, and you don't care. So it was like, okay, why not building something that everyone can use, right? Why not like having a standard and then we end up with like another implementation, which is not the standard, but like that kind of like the joke. But the idea was mainly that, right? We can like reuse or like share or come together to build something that can be reused for an implementation. And that's good, because if there are multiple implementations which can talk to each other, it means that if one has a bug, then you don't have to, everything doesn't have to break because you're all always using the same one, right? kind of like what happened with BTCD and like that LND Watchtower and so on. Not that long. That was my train of thought. So I thought, okay, I started doing this kind of like as a research project, but then I thought, okay, we can actually like build something out of this, and that's why I built it. So regarding the slides, by the way, should I like go a little bit on what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, so let's talk about what we're actually going to be doing, like how we're going to be deploying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea today would be to install, or we'll have a Polar setup. We will see that in a minute. We will be installing the Satoshi, which is the Watchtower. I'm like the main dev of in one of the nodes. So that's going to be built on top of Bitcoin D node. Well, in the same node that the Bitcoin D node is running. It doesn't have to. It can be in another one that connects to that one. But since we're using Polar, we have to deploy something that Polar knows, and that's mainly going to be a Bitcoin D node. We will explore a little bit the Tower APIs. What can you do with it from the admin standpoint and from the client standpoint? We will also be installing Watchtower client for core lining. That's the only one we have available right now because, well, core lining has a public interface that allows us to build this. The one for LDK, which is the next one we should be building, should be there soonish, I would say. So I was talking to Matt not that long ago, and we opened an issue for the endpoint to also be offered for LDK. So as long as that's offered, we can start building kind of like the port of this client to LDK. This is all built in Rust, so it should be pretty simple to migrate to LDK too. Then after that, we will, well, as I was saying, we will deploy a network with 2 nodes, 2 Lightning nodes, and 3 backends. So every Lightning node will have its own backend, and then we will have a third backend, which is going to be the Watchtower. And finally, if we have some time, I can actually show you a live mainnet Watchtower because all this is going to be running on reg test. I can show you the one I have running for a month or so right now. And if there's like some people using it, we may see like some traffic. And maybe I can show you like a little bit of the data that it's in there and so on.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. I have some like noob questions, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat, and we'll answer them as we go along. So yeah, this is a piece of software that's gonna run like alongside your. Yeah, you can stop presenting as well if you want.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. Yeah, if there's questions, like feel free. I think it's better if we like go kind of like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so my understanding, this is a piece of software that you're gonna run along, because I'm just trying to think about it as well from the end user's perspective, right? Like, is this a piece of software that you are gonna run alongside your Lightning node to ensure like whatever counterparty you have channels with can't steal your funds in the event you're offline and stuff? Or is this kind of like going to be like a service provided by a third party that you would connect to, or like how does that kind of work?
It kind of can be both. So the thing is that you shouldn't be running a Watchtower in the same node, in the same machine, not in the same network or the same household, let's say, that you're running your node. Mainly because if you're sharing resources, let's say like power outlets and stuff like that, or internet connection or something like that, if your node dies, then your tower is also going to die. That doesn't make any sense, right? So normally, if you're running a tower at home, that tower is not going to be covering you. It's going to be covering other people, and maybe other people are covering you, right? So this kind of design, the one that was followed by Bitcoin Lightning Wallet, Electrum, Lightning, LND, and the Satoshi, the 4 of them are like designed to be offered kind of as a service. So the idea is that you cover, either someone offers it as a service and everyone can connect to it, or you offer it and then other people may offer it to you, and then kind of like you connect to them and they connect to you, right?
Got you. Okay.
The only requirement I would say here is what I said, right? Don't run your node and your tower. So if the tower is covering you, don't run it in the same network, nor the same household, because that's not going to be good for you.
Okay, makes sense. We got a question here. What about Eclair and LND? If I understand correctly, LND has its own Watchtower, but I'm not sure about Eclair.
So LND has its own, and the LND Watchtower can only work with LND, mainly because so you cannot send information from LND to any other Watchtower, mainly because the API they use to like grab the information you need from the backend, it's not an open API, so you cannot just build your stuff on top of LND. Not up to now. So like that's one of the things I've been trying to like push for them to change, but haven't got like much luck yet. And I think that's something. I mean, in my opinion, I think that's something that should change because you should be able to like send that to any tower implementation. If you want here, if you really want to have like healthy like Watchtower like what's the word environment, let's say, we want to have like multiple towers that can cover like any implementation should be able to send information to any other implementation, right? So it doesn't really matter if the client and the servers are the same. So it doesn't really matter if the LND client can talk to the Satoshi tower. It just matters if you can build something on top of the node implementation. So you don't even have to like have common like Watchtower protocol that you're following if you allow other people to like grab the same information and like build it in the way they want it to build. So that's mainly what C-Lightning has done. They have an endpoint, the info is there, build it the way you want, right? Okay. I may build it in one way, actually. Someone else may build it another way.
That reminds me as well, you've drafted a Watchtower protocol spec as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Bolt 13.
I did it, actually, it was kind of like 3 years ago or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is that still relevant today, or?
I mean, it's the same as we are building on the Satoshi. So the implementation comes straight from the Bolt. Some things may have been added to the Satoshi, and the Bolt hasn't been updated. Honestly, at some point I stopped like pushing for the Bolt and went for the implementation because I thought, you know what, so it feels like you don't have enough strength to like push for something if you don't have like a work implementation that actually proves that it works.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay, I think we should come together and build something that makes sense together. I don't mind if it's like the way I'm saying it to be, or it's another way. That Bolt actually borrowed a lot from LND's implementation, from Olympus implementation. So from the ideas we had at the time, it was mainly like getting what was already built and try to like standardize it in a way that made sense for the things that were already built.
Okay.
But you know, at the end of the day, if you don't want to implement something, you're not gonna, right? So it's kind of like worthless for me to push for implementation or for a spec to be implemented if there's no intention to do so. So again, I haven't abandoned it, but I thought, okay, let's do implementation, and once we have like some deployment, maybe there will be like a better chance to try to like standardize this. At the end of the day, again, I'm not like that much into having, well, I think like a standard would work and would make sense, but the most important thing for me is actually letting people build on top of whatever they want to build. So just like open your APIs, guys. That's my take on this.
Open your APIs. Okay, that makes sense. And then last question before we dive into the demo is
by the way, Eclair doesn't have any so far. So I talked to some of the Eclair guys, and it's on the roadmap, but they haven't like any endpoint yet to build that.
Okay. And last question before we go into our demo. So from 420 RP, how do you monetize a Watchtower service you offer to third parties?
So right now, I think all of the implementations that are out there, well, Olympus was a little bit different. I think they had some tokens to pay for that, but all of the rest have been running altruistically. The logic in the Satoshi, the logic for the payments is there. So there's a subscription-based model in where you have to register before being able to use a tower, and that registration gives you some allocation for that data that you can send, and gives you some time framing where you can send that data. Then when that expires, you have to like re-register, and like you can build kind of like a paywall on the register endpoint, or do it in the way you rather in order to make the user pay for that. Right now, I haven't like focused much in the whole payment stuff because I think that if someone is like interested enough, they can like always PR and like adding something on top of that. But the whole logic for that is already built within the Tower backend, and we'll see how the Tower structure works in a minute. So there's already like pieces to like manage all the subscription stuff and to manage all the expiration and not to allow people to like send more stuff. There's also the logic of how the tower works for anti-DOS based on this subscription is also built in there. So in case someone tries to, let me talk a little bit about this. So like the reason why there's a subscription-based model within the tower and why you should end up paying for it is because if you don't, then you can just like send as much data as you want to the tower without any kind of limit. You don't have to like pay anything for that, and you can like create 1,000 civil identities and send like shit to the tower, so it has to like store all the information, right? So the way we solved this issue was first we identified everything that came from the same user, and we'll talk a little bit about like how users work and how if they are like related to Node in any way. Spoiler alert, they are not. But the idea is that if a user sends the same piece of data twice, so something identified with the same identifier twice to the tower is going to treat that as an update. So the only way for you to store more than one piece of data is if the user actually like changes that data, right? The idea for subscription is that you kind of like buy a bulk of like slots and time upfront, and you have to pay upfront for that, right? If you want to like send multiple things that have kind of like the same identifier, so the tower have to every single time you kind of like trigger one thing for the tower, it has to like look for like a lot of stuff and decrypt a lot of stuff and so on. We'll see all that later. But if you want the tower to do some heavy lifting, you actually have to like register multiple times with multiple users, which means that you may end up having to pay multiple subscription upfront, right? So if you price that properly, then that attack may end up being profit for you instead of an attack. So right now, if you're offering this, you kind of like are susceptible to being DOS because as we will see, like the data that can be sent is anything. And at the beginning, I thought that like a lot of people would rather like build that and like charge for that. So that's not the case. Then at some point I was pinged by some people about maybe some big companies wanting to like run this altruistically. So I thought, okay, maybe I don't have to like put that much effort into building the whole payment thing. But the design is there, you know, because like the use case is there, the design is there, and the DOS attack vectors are there. So it feels like you have to build it in that way, just in case you have to end up paying for it, which I think some people will, by the way. So if you want to build it non-altruistically and you know some Rust and you want to contribute, again, it's not a priority right now. I think there are other things that are more important, but PRs are more than welcome. So please come and contribute to the project.
Okay, fantastic. And we'll give people some resources at the end on how they can get involved, like the Discord, the GitHub, following on Twitter, all that good stuff. So, all right, cool. So I think we're ready to jump into like the practicals of this. Let me shift a couple of my screens around so I can share my screen. Give me a second here. So thanks for answer, Sergi. I don't know Rust, but we'll definitely take a look at the project. Fantastic. Okay, so let's try and I'll do my screen here. Cool. All right. So I'm a noob. I don't know how to set up Watchtowers. Take me on a journey of how I deploy one of these bad boys.
All right. So let's open up Polar. Let's build something graphically that people can look at.
So I can't remember if I've used Polar on a stream before, but do you want to explain quickly what like Polar is?
Yes, of course.
Maybe I have.
So Polar is mainly a graphical interface on top of Docker. So it lets you build like Rectest Lightning networks. Well, even like Rectest Bitcoin networks on a graphical interface that you can actually show, like you can see like what's going on and stuff. So I think it's like quite user friendly in the sense that when you want to explain something, you have like all the arrows for kind of like the connection between nodes and so on. and you can like create things, kind of like drag and drop and such.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think it's mainly like what you would do with Docker without having to like do all the commands with the command line, which I think people who are not that used to it get lost easily. So yeah, shout out to I think it's James. I think it's called James. I don't remember. The Polar guy. I think he presented this. I think it was in 2019 at the Lightning Conf, and everyone was like super surprised about it because it just makes demoing so easy.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. All right, so I've got this big orange button that says create a Lightning network.
Yeah, let's create one. I'm gonna do the same stuff as you do, just in case. So if someone doesn't work, I can always try to.
Sounds good. Network name, it's got kind of a placeholder one in there for me, so I'll just copy that as well. So I'll call it my Lightning SimNet. And then it says how many managed nodes. So what do I want to set up here?
Just do 2 core Lightning and 3 Bitcoin Core. So we'll do non-LND, non-Eclair, 2 core and 2 Eclair. In this case, it really doesn't matter. As long as we have 1 core Lightning, the other one doesn't matter what it is. We'll just go with core Lightning because why not?
Okay, so we got 2 core Lightning and 1 Bitcoin and 3 Bitcoin Core. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
So the idea here is going to be that one of the core Lightning nodes is going to be running the Watchtower client. That's a plugin for core Lightning. Every single Lightning node would have its own backend, which are backend 1 and backend 2. And then we'll have backend 3, which it could be any node. And that's where the Watchtower is going to be running. So we could simulate this with just like 1 node and like the 2 Lightning nodes connect to the same backend and so on. But I mean, ideally, if you think about this, how it would work, it would be like its Lightning node has its backend, and then the tower is somewhere external, as I told you before, right?
Got you. Yeah.
So what we want to do now is starting the network. So you have a start button on the right top right.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Looks like it started. Got this nice green button here, or green thing here that says we've started. Yeah.
Let me do it too. What's our stream? 0203. All right. So once that's started, the thing we should do would be to create a channel between Alice and Bob, and we can do that by just dragging a line between the rightmost end on Alice to Bob. That will ask you if you want to. Well, what's going to be the capacity? We can do like 1 million sats.
Do we need to Do we need to mine any blocks to make?
No, it will do it for you. So as long as you have like deposited enough funds there checked, Polar should do it for you. So just like do open channel, and you'll see.
Do you want to make it the channel private? No,
it doesn't matter.
Keep that unticked. Okay,
it can be. It really doesn't matter here.
Okay, cool.
You'll see how that height on the top right part on the back end will go from 1 to 100 something, 113 or something like that. Once the channel is open.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So height 113.
Exactly. Cool. So what this has done mainly has been to open a channel between Alice and Bob. It has well, first it has mined 100 blocks. We are direct test, meaning that there's no previous blocks. For UTXOs to be mature enough to be used, we need it to be 100 blocks old. So the UTXO that opened this channel was created in block 2, most likely, or maybe block 1, and needed like 100 blocks on top for us to be able to use it. And then after creating the channel, we needed some confirmations for it to be opened, right, instead of like pending. So that's mainly what should have happened behind the scenes.
Fantastic.
All right. So now that we've done this, we need to install some stuff. So you should open a terminal in backend 3 and in Bob or Alice. It doesn't matter, whatever you want. Backend 3 is important, like Alice and Bob doesn't matter. Do it from from Docker instead of from here, so you have root access.
Okay, so if I open Docker desktop, okay, how do I find the Docker
You should
images for
have
these?
something running, but I don't know what it is for you.
Okay, let's see. So we've got a
Oh, you
load.
actually, I think you had Docker open on your bar, on your top bar before this, right? The
So-
second icon.
so this one.
I think that's it,
Oh
right?
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oops. Okay, so Docker's running here. So do
You
I
go to the
want to?
dashboard and see we have something in there?
Okay.
Oh, it's the same. It's actually open in the same.
Oh, it's the same. Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
so I just need to find the images that are running currently. Yeah.
Normally,
Okay,
for me, that's in containers. So I have like some green stuff that is running with a layer stuff, but I don't know how it works for your version of this. Go to containers instead of images.
Containers.
Is anything running there?
Let's see. So we've got
Oh, you have
one
one there, yeah?
running.
What's
Okay,
that?
here
Oh,
we go.
that's it. Okay, nice.
Yeah, here we go. Okay.
Right. So first, let's install the tower first. You can go to the backend 3 to do that.
Okay,
I'm gonna do
backend
the same.
3. And we want to open the CLI, you said, yeah. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Do /bin/bar. So it's /bin/bash. So we actually have autocomplete and stuff like that. Bin bash.
/bin/
bash BASH.
Okay.
Okay.
Just enter.
Yep. All right. I like that better. I don't like SH that much.
Okay, cool.
let me do that too, and we can proceed. So what we're going to do here is mainly first installing some system dependencies, because these containers are kind of like quite they only have like the basic stuff that they need to like run the stuff that you have to run, right? Since we're going to be running more stuff, we need some additional things running.
Okay.
So what you want to run is let me. Well, it's like the first line of the setup I sent you before, but I can check.
Okay, so we can. Yeah, you sent me some commands beforehand, so we can do this a bit quicker, and then we can kind of walk through the command as we go. So it's this one, right? So
that's it. So we're gonna update the application repository, and then mainly get build essentials. So we need Git, right? And this is the one? No, sorry.
Did I jump the gun too early?
You may. Let me see what was in that line.
So here we go. So
oh no, that's missing some stuff. That's the one for the client. The one for the I shared it in the private chat. So it's
cool.
Git, build essentials, NetTools, Beam, and Tor.
Here we go. Okay.
It's mainly the same stuff, but we need some additional tools, because later on it's going to be important.
Okay, let's.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Cool. Yes.
I should be doing this too, by the way. Let me see.
So this is just like installing dependencies, pretty much, yeah?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Again, this is just because we are missing some of the stuff that we need later. We're going to be needing to install Rust, install some Rust packages. If we don't install build essentials, for example, that's not going to work.
Okay.
So yeah, we need to. Again, normally, if you're building this in a normal Linux environment, most of this is already going to be installed.
Okay. Got
the only thing that may be missing is Tor. That's something I added. So we'll see it later. But the tower is offering 2 endpoints, one HTTP and one Tor endpoint. So since we are showing it up, we can show it with both Tor and like the normal interface.
Cool. Okay, that seems to complete it fine.
Nice. All right. So after that, we have to switch to. We can either like switch to the Bitcoin user or to create another user for this. We're gonna do it with Bitcoin. Like if you're paranoid about like separating everything with different users, you can create the TOS user or something like that. It really doesn't matter here. Do it in the way you want, but I'll just switch to Bitcoin. So do SU so minus Bitcoin. So like I don't know how you do that.
Okay. So sorry, what am I doing here? So SU.
Yeah, like this.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's.
That's just like, I don't know how you call like the middle bar thingy.
Let's see. Hold on.
Okay. You can do bin bash again here if you want to see like the path and all the stuff.
Slash bin
Slash bash. Okay. So now we've switched to the Bitcoin user mainly because we need to install the tower in the user that is going to be running the tower, right? In this case, it's going to be Bitcoin. Again, it could be TIOS or whatever user you want it to be. And we're going to be installing Rust in this user, right? So in order to do that, well, I'm just going to copy you the command you have to run. But if you want to know what command is you have to run for that, you can just go to rustlang.org. And like the first thing you see in there is how to install Rust. The command comes straight from there.
Any specific version or like the latest is fine? Is it compatible?
The latest is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have like a minimum supported version at the time. Okay. At some point we should, honestly. For now, we're just like building on latest. So
looks like the latest is 1.65.0, I think.
Again, like there's no real reason why to build on latest and not on any other. We're not using like anything fancy here. But latest always has. It's supposed to have like whatever it's stable, so that should work.
Okay.
Again, if there's like a really hardcore Rust person like watching the stream and they have like some comments on that, I'm like super into like learning about it and like knowing why we should use another one. Right. So now just copy that source .cargo thingy that it's shown on the bottom, so you can use cargo.
Yeah. Okay. So just copy and paste that. Yeah.
And then the next step would be to clone the Git repo from the Satoshi and install it, right? So what I normally do, I like to create like a folder for that. I would do like mkdir git, for example, cd git. You can do, I mean, if you don't want to create one, you don't have to, but I like to have like things separated.
Yeah, I usually have like a projects folder, but it doesn't really matter, right? You can just call it, we can call it git.
You call it git, yeah. Then cd to git and just clone the repo for it. Or you can go to GitHub, or I can actually share that with you too.
I think I might have it here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is just, basic git clone.
Yeah. That's going from master. Hopefully everything is working on master. Like I just merged one thing before the stream. That shouldn't break. But we know why.
Why would you do that right before the stream?
Well, I think there's a good reason for it.
Okay.
Last week, C-Lining released a new version for CLN plugin, which is CLN plugin. I think it's called CLN plugin, yeah, which is the plugin scaffoldings built in Rust from C-Lining. And that was actually breaking master for the Satoshi because like it was pulling. So the Satoshi was pulling from the latest version, and the latest version changed, and there was a breaking change in there, right? So we actually changed that so you don't have to. But I'm not completely sure if with the version that is building from Polar, they're going to be using that version of that thing in Rust, and we're going to be using a different one. So that may break if it's not the same one. So I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and merge it because it was already reviewed, and why not?
Well, we've got 100% record of demos so far in this stream, so it'll be the first time we ever break anything. No, I'm joking. All right, cool. So I guess we want to CD into...
Exactly. Yeah, you want to CD inside the tower folder, and then just install it. Installing it is pretty easy, so that's what you should do. It's mainly cargo install. We have the log modifier. Now it's not necessary, but that's mainly so you're using the exact version that we wanted to use. So that was trying to fix the thing I was telling you about before it was fixed.
Okay.
And the path TIOS is so mainly you build whatever you're, so you build it locally and you're not like pulling from anywhere.
Okay.
That's gonna take some time. So if you want, we can go to install the other things on the other node that we need to, and then that can go
Yep.
in parallel, and we don't have to like waste that much time.
That sounds good. Okay.
All right. So if we go back to Polar or to Docker, depending, we need to we need to install stuff in one of the nodes. So I'm going to pick Bob. You can pick either Alice or Bob. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
So also open a terminal in Bob through Docker. So you have it with root
access.
root access.
So I want to open Bob. Okay. If I get root access again, it's or does it give you it by default as soon as you open it, or?
Yeah, you go bin bash again, so you can see like the. Well, I mean, I like bash. I don't like sh that much, so that's why I do it, and I can see like where we are and stuff. So you can see that we are at Bob now with the root user.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's mainly what I do it, so like people can see
okay.
what's going on. So now we have to install the stuff for the tower, for the tower client. Sorry. Here we're just going to install build essentials, Beam, and Tor again. Beam, so we can like edit some stuff, build essentials to build the Rust stuff, and Tor, so we can also do the Tor thing later if we want. So
okay, so is this the correct one? I think I jumped the gun before. This was the right one. Build essentials. Yeah. Okay.
So on. All right.
How is our Bitcoin backend getting on? Okay, still building.
That may take around 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
So we are also going to be installing that thing, well, some of that on this node. So at some point, both of them will be installing, and then.
Does Alice need to have the same stuff set up as well? Okay, just on one of them. Okay.
But yeah, the idea would be we have Alice, which is like a random node that we have a channel with, but we don't know what they are running, right? We're Bob. We have a Watchtower client that connects to our Watchtower, which is in the backend 3. So it would be. So
currently, there's nothing protecting Alice's side of the.
Yeah, exactly. We're assuming we don't know anything about Alice. So we are Bob, right? So we are assuming that we control Bob's stuff plus backend 3, and we don't know anything about Alice.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay, so cool. Once that is installed, you have to switch to the C-lining user. So that's su/C-lining, and then bin bash again.
Oops.
Okay, we're with the C-lining user now, and we're going to do the exact same stuff that we did before. So we have to download Rust. Build, so install Rust, and then build. So like clone the repo and build the client in this machine set up on the server.
Okay, download Rust. So we're downloading Rust, and then what's the next part? Sorry.
Now we will clone the repo again, and we will install
the client side
instead of the tower. So it's a multi-repo. Everything is there.
Fantastic. Okay.
You want to install.
Okay. Cool.
So again, copy the stuff.
So we'll clone.
You may need to do the source cargo thingy. So you can use cargo. You have it there.
Oh, thank you. Cheers. And okay. So I make a directory again, similar before.
Yeah. Again, that's up to whoever is doing it. I just like to have a folder to do this stuff, but you don't really have to.
Okay. And then cd into Rust TOS, and then cargo install. Is it the same command?
No, now it's a bit different. The only thing that's changing now, it's the package you're installing. So before it was TOS, which is the Satoshi. now you're
Okay.
installing Watchtower plugin, which is the plugin for C-lining.
Okay. So Core Lightning has this plugin architecture type of thing. So like, is this significantly different to like other implementations? Does like LND have like a plugin kind of ecosystem and
I don't
Eclair, or is
think
this
so.
something quite unique to Core Lightning?
I think it's
is it?
something quite unique to Core Lightning. I think
Right. Okay.
LND stands out for its gRPC interface and like all the gRPC like commands it has, and all the things you can actually pull from the backend from gRPC. That's
Got
something
you.
that, to the best of my knowledge, C-lining doesn't have that well built yet. So they have added gRPC recently,
Okay.
but it's not as powerful as LNDs. But they have the plugin system, which actually allows you to do a lot of stuff with the backend programmatically. So that's,
Got you.
I found that like super easy to work with, to be honest.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. And do you need to know C to
No,
add extensions to?
no.
Okay.
The cool thing, so initially they had the plugin system built in Python, and they already had a library in Python for you to use if you wanted to build any plugin. I think you can also build them in C if you want to. Like I just don't.
Yeah. Okay.
But they had like these kind of like scaffoldings built in Python, so you can just like import. I think it was called PLN, and then using PLN you can like build all the stuff. Recently they've changed this, and they also have that. Well, they re-implemented the whole stuff in Rust, so now you can use both Python and Rust.
Just the just the plugin portion of the node.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the scaffoldings are actually now built in Rust, but now they
Right.
support both Rust plugins and Python
Oh,
plugins.
interesting.
I think
Okay,
they
I
also
didn't know
actually support more languages, but I may not know.
Okay, interesting. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. The cool thing is that now you can build plugins in Rust, so it makes so much sense to build it in Rust.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
So yeah, in this case, I think the interface is pretty easy to use. You can define. I mean, we can go a little bit through the code if you want later. But mainly, you can define RPC methods that are bypassed through their lining RPC stuff. So they are added to all their lining RPC commands just by enabling the plugin. And then you have like some interface that you can access. So, for example, the Watchtower hook was built after just like having a couple of conversations with Rusty and Christian. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
It was that was not there. It was just like, guys, do you think that it's actually viable? And they were like, sure, and they built it. So it couldn't be easier in that regard.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I don't think
something failed.
I was I don't think I was successful in installing the plugin.
Yeah, let me see.
Let's see. So it says failed to compile Watchtower plugin version 0.12.
Let me see.
Intermediate artifacts can be found at home, C-Lightning, Git, Rusty as target.
Something going on with OpenSSL.
OpenSSL, okay. Failed to run custom build command for OpenSSL.
What?
First Are you getting a similar thing?
Yeah, I'm getting the same stuff. You see, first time I get
cool.
it.
Okay. It was only right.
yeah, it had to happen, right?
Yeah.
OpenSSL.
Let's see if the audience can help us debug as well. Like, feel free to give us any tips on how we might debug this here. So cannot find directory OpenSSL installation.
You can likely fix this by installing. Oh, okay. Let's try to install this. One sec.
PKG config.
Let me see if I can install that and then it works. Give me 1 sec.
It looks like you're compiling on Linux and also targeting Linux. Currently, this requires the PKG config utility to find OpenSSL, but unfortunately, PKG config cannot be found.
Yeah, I think that's it. I just installed that, and I'm gonna try to like recompile to see if it works.
Okay, that's quite a nice error message, though.
Yeah, if it works, you see, it has definitely told you what to do, and it doesn't seem to work. Wait, okay, let me clean this and try to like recompile.
Yeah, usually when things just go wrong in a terminal, you just get ugly warnings and errors and no help. But let's see.
So if it works, the only thing I've done has been like to exit from the CLN user, go back to the root user, install the package that was mentioned there. And
let's see. Okay, let me try that as well. Hold on. So can I just use, is it su, how do you go back to root? Is it just su root, is it?
you can do exit twice, you'll be in root. But there's something else missing here. Let me see.
Let's see.
Okay, so something is not working. I'm not find OpenSSL. Okay, so you can set the OpenSSL dir, but I don't know what the dir is for OpenSSL, to be honest.
Okay.
Or maybe something is okay. This package may be actually missing one side. Nope, it was not it. Nope. It was meant to happen, you see.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll work it out. We're not in any rush. I'll work through it. I'm just doing some Googles myself to try and see how to install pkg config. pk add pk as root. So that is available.
Oh wait, I think I fixed it. Let's see if this works now. It feels like I fixed it.
Okay. Live debugging.
Live debugging. That's how you spend most of your time coding. So yeah.
Yeah, and this is
this is not right.
Yeah, no, it's actually important for viewers to see that it's not smooth sailing all the time.
So it looks like it's working now. You should also install this package. Lib SSL dep was missing too. So it's both the what was it? The first one.
So I can just use. Is it apt install? Is it apt install?
Yeah.
Apt install.
Make sure to update first, just in case. I don't know what was when it was updated for last.
Permission denied. I need to run this as sudo.
Yep. Yeah. You have to exit twice. So mainly you had to install pkg config and lib SSL/dep.
When you say exit twice,
you exit and then do exit again. Just exit. Just type exit.
I'll just exit twice. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then exit again, and now you're in.
Okay. Cool. And then I can just update.
Yeah.
Apt install lib SSL.
Yep.
And pkg configs.
pkg config, yeah.
Yeah. Config. Okay, cool. So then I can go back to my C Lightning user.
Yep.
CD into my Git folder, CD into Watchtowers, and then I just wanted to try and install the plugin again now, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, now things looks like it's working now.
Cool. And we're all good. So our Bitcoin backend
by default. Nice.
is all good as well.
Okay, we're gonna start setting that up if you like.
Okay.
So let me think what we need. I don't want to like miss anything. Give me 1 second so I can like check this up. 1 sec. So I'm gonna do it by heart. Maybe we're missing something, and then if we are, I can just like do it delay, like execute it.
Okay.
Let me see. It works. No. Oh, okay. So the first thing we should be doing is setting up the
server
configuration file for the tower. We're not going to change much. Some stuff is going to be needed.
Okay.
So let me see. 1 second. Okay, so this here. Don't have it here. It doesn't matter.
Cool. And it looked like our client successfully installed as well.
Nice. Great. Okay. So, okay, in order to do that, let's just try to like run it straight away and we'll see why we need to like configure some stuff.
Okay.
So if you just go to that terminal, the terminal in the Bitcoin client, and you run TOSD, you'll see that you cannot run it.
If what was that again? TOS?
Like TOS daemon, it's Bitcoin D, same.
Oh, TOSD. Okay. So we get configuration error, BTC RPC user must be set.
Okay. So that's mainly because the way the tower connects to Bitcoin is using the RPC interface. Okay. And right now, the tower doesn't know what the RPC user and the RPC password are for the backend, right?
Okay.
That's meant to be like that. There's no defaults here, and I didn't want it to have any defaults, mainly because I don't want people to run on defaults, right? So if I set this to like user and password and people don't change it because they are lazy, then they have like a bad configuration, and that's something I don't want to be responsible of.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have to switch to fix that. So in order to do that, we're going to create a configuration file. You can go to the root, to the home folder of the Bitcoin user. So you just do cd. That will bring you there. The folder, the user folder for the Satoshi has already been created just by you typing TOT. So if you go to .tos, you'll see that there's a folder in here, but it's empty. Yep, that's it. CD. CD.tos. Okay. So there's a folder, but the folder is empty, right? Yep. So what we're going to be doing here is creating the config file. So we are going to beam that. I hope you know how beam works, because if you don't, then it's going to be hard for you to exit it.
Yeah, I will you're gonna. I'm not a Vim guy. I'm going to be honest with you. If they maybe they have Nano.
I don't think a Nano is installed, but you can install it.
We'll have to grind through it. We'll have to.
Okay, yeah, let's grind it. Let's grind it. So do beam tos.toml.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So now you want to do I for input.
Yeah.
Right. And let me share like a bit of configuration that you can use. So.
Okay.
So actually, if you can go to GitHub, I'm gonna tell where all this information comes from.
Okay.
So people are not like, oh, how do I know what I have to configure and this stuff? Where is the config file? And that kind of stuff that actually happens. So if you go to GitHub and you go to TOS and the source code, you'll see that there's one file which is called config.rs.
in here.
No, sorry, not config.rs.
Oh, no.
Conf template.toml, sorry.
Is this in the TOS folder or?
It's in TOS folder in source.
Okay.
And then there's conf template there.
Okay.
So that's a template with all the configs options for the tower and every single option that is set up here, but the user, the network, but the user and the password, sorry, which are actually quite knowledgeable, are the defaults for the tower, right? So like that's all the defaults that you're going to find if you run the tower with defaults. It's except for the user and the password. Okay.
Okay, got you. So we set our own user and password now, yeah.
Yeah. The stuff we want to use is BTC network, BTC user, and BTC RPC user and BTC RPC password. So if you want, you can copy those.
Okay.
Since you're using Mac, you may be able, now that you have inserted, to just paste on your terminal, and that should work.
Yeah.
Yep. So we want to change BTC network for RecTest because we're running on RecTest. So just change, delete that and go with RecTest.
Test. Yep.
We want to change the user for, I think it's Polar user.
Yeah, I think we can check that in Polar, but just to make sure, I guess.
Yeah. We can go and check it.
Is it connect? Yeah, it's Polar user, Polar pass.
Exactly. That's what you want to change it for.
Okay.
We're going to add a couple more options. So just after that, do 2 returns. I'm not checking the screen, but I think that makes sense. Okay, yeah. So the other 2 options we're going to change. Those are going to be kind of like more developer things.
Okay.
Are going to be we're actually going to change more stuff. Yeah. So we're going to change the polling delta to, let's say, 1. That's how often the tower polls Bitcoin D.
So here we go. This one here, polling delta.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and what does polling delta do?
That's the option for how often the tower polls Bitcoin D for new blocks. So the tower is going to be polling Bitcoin D to see if the tip has changed. Normally, it does it every minute. You can change it to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever you want. But now we're going to reduce it to 1 second, so we can see things going on super quickly. You can put 110, something that is mainly small. It doesn't really matter.
Not 110.
That's going to be way too much.
So
either 10, something below 10, let's say, so we can see that happening.
Okay.
Often. All right. What else do we want to set up? We want to set up the. We want to enable Tor support, so you can do Tor underscore support equals 1. That's
so this one here, Tor support. Okay. Cool.
Equals. I think here it has to be true or 1. I'm not sure. Let me see. It was in.
Yeah, I mean in the config it's got it's false, so
it has to be true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we need to change one more thing, but we don't know it yet. So just save and quit. So in order to save and quit with Vim, you have to do escape.
Yeah.
Then semicolon.
WQ, is it?
WQ, yeah. And that should work.
You remember some things from Vim. Okay.
Okay. So do if config here.
Config, yeah.
It's not working.
Is it? Oh no, hold on. If config, right? Yeah.
I think we installed NetTools, right? I think we did.
I think we did. Oh no, we installed NetTools on the on the server. Yeah,
the server. Yeah. NetTools should have installed that if config now, I think, right?
Is it something we can install?
Well, we need to know the IP, so, and that's normally with if config. But let me see. Let me go Let me exit 1 second. See
Okay.
if we didn't. And was it? We actually have it. Oh, but we cannot access it without root. Okay, so go to the root user and check your internet address. For me, it's 172.23.02. I don't know if it's going to be the same for you, but
oh, I'm not even in the root, am I? Hold on. Or am I? No. Okay, so I think I'm here, right? 172.19.05, I think.
yeah, that's yours. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So go back to the Bitcoin user, and we need to input that for the tower. So being
super.
This is mainly, I'm not completely sure if we need it, to be honest, because this may all be running on localhost internally, so it may not be needed. But if you're running this on a normal machine, you may need to advertise whatever address you're using, because otherwise it's just gonna run on localhost, which is the default.
So I need to, is it vim.ts.tomo?
Yep. Yep.
And then what was the actual?
It was 173.
What was the name of the property I need to change again?
Is it API underscore bind.
Okay. Okay. API underscore bind. API underscore bind equals.
And then whatever IP you got, I think it was.
Yeah, I've pasted that in. Yeah.
So that should be all the things we need. Since we're going to run this with Tor, we are going to enable Tor too. Normally, I'm running this with all the features we have, right? It's like you don't have to run it with all the features, but since we are showing it up, why not? You can just by adding the BTC RPC user and the BTC RPC password, that's all you need to run the tower, right? Just to be clear that it's actually quite easy to do it, but we're enabling some more stuff, so it's funnier. Let me. So to run Tor, I think I'm not gonna change it to our RC for now. I think just run it with the normal stuff. So I'll paste a command for you to run. 1 sec.
Okay.
Now, by the way, most of these commands, when you want to run this with Tor or with something like this, and blah blah blah, all those that stuff is on the README for the Satoshi. So I'm just going through there, pasting some of the stuff.
Bring it up again. If people want to find these commands, just come to the GitHub repo. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're all here, right? Running the daemon, setting the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's mainly it. So now you want to run this, and I'll explain what it is. But we are gonna run Tor as a screen, so as a process we can reattach to if we want, and mainly enable the control port and authentication and so on. Mainly we want the Satoshi to be able to connect to Tor. So this is mainly building one screen, calling it Tor, running Tor. And enable
it's not required. Obviously, you can run it.
It's not required whatsoever. No.
Yeah.
This is just so we can run it with Tor, so we can try both interfaces if we want to.
Okay.
If you don't want to run with Tor, you don't have to.
Okay, so we're getting screen command not found. Do I need to run it as root?
No, I think we didn't install screen. You see, I always forget to install some things.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Is that just another apt install?
Yeah, apt install screen and go back. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I run that as root again.
Okay. Yeah, this is working.
Cool. And then back to Bitcoin user.
I'll add this to the things I passed before. So
okay, so now we want to go back into our git folder.
Yeah.
Tios. Whoops.
Rustios.
Rustios. Yeah.
Okay, now you can run the screen thing. Okay. This is mainly starting Tor in a different screen, which is like it's a like.
So, what is the benefit of running Tor alongside your Watchtower?
If you're running Tor, then you can also connect to the Watchtower using Tor instead of just ClearNet.
Cool.
So one of the things, since we are running
more
this
private.
Exactly using HTTP, then if you're receiving
does that
some
help prevent you against like the stuff you was mentioning earlier, against like just quote unquote like DOS attacks and all that kind of stuff?
It mainly helps on the privacy part from the user to the tower. So like imagine that I said that the identifiers are not related to any node IDs or anything like that, right? But if you receive some information from one IP and then you go to the Lightning Network and check if there's a node in that IP, then you may be able to like know exactly what node is sending you information. You may not know like what information about what channel, but you may be able to see who is, right? So if you're running Tor, that's completely impossible.
Got you.
All right. Cool. So just in order to exit this, do Control A, Control D, Control A D, sorry, and that will detach from the screen. That's running on the background. We don't have to care about that whatsoever. Now we can run TRD, and that should work now.
Okay, TRD.
Nice. So there's a bunch of stuff here that we care, and we're gonna talk about a little bit now. So this is the fresh start, right? So this is the first time we run this. There were no keys for the tower, so the tower needs to have an identity so it can assign stuff to send it to the users, and the users can like verify that the stuff come from the tower. So the first time you run it, key pair is generated, is ephemeral, so it's not related to anything. Once you've done that one time, then it will like just load that from that point on. So what that has done has been like to create that key. It has generated tower ID based on that key. It has pulled the last block that it knows and stored all that information. Since we've enabled Tor in the config file, it has also enabled the Tor interface. So Tor was not enabled before, so it's creating a new secret key. We can see how that was not created first. That not such file or directory could be improved. That's not user. The UX for that should be improved. Now that I see it. That just happened the first time, but yeah. Anyway, it shouldn't be there. So it has generated a fresh tower secret key and has created one onion endpoint, right? So now, if you can open a second terminal in here in this node, so we can see some stuff, but logged into this container.
How do I do that?
I think you have to go to Docker again in order to do it. That one can be open from Polar, by the way. Now you can run everything from Polar because everything is installed. So.
Okay.
This is just, I mean, we haven't run this as a daemon, so it's like logging the terminal, so we cannot like do stuff.
So I can open Bob in Polar, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. That should work.
Let me resize the window here, which is a bit annoying. Maybe I use Docker again.
Oh, this is it's not Bob, it's backend 3, by the way.
Sorry, backend 3, yeah.
I had the same mistake. So.
Yeah. Open another one. Yeah, okay.
Okay, do Bash again. Oh yeah, because you cannot resize that.
Yeah, it doesn't let you resize it for some reason.
I think they have added that in one of the latest commits, by the way.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, so now you have the tower is running now. So we're just going to run a couple of commands here to show what's available, and then we'll start interacting with it with the client. So we can use the CLI because the CLI
just on a quick time check. We probably got about 10. We'll go for another 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like go much into this, but at
Yeah.
least we can like check that the tower is running. So if you
Yeah,
do
okay.
TOCLI, the CLI should be also be available here. Okay,
Yes.
those
Nice.
are all the commands that you can run. The one that we are going to run now, since we don't have like that much time, do get tower info. That will tell you kind of like a summary of the things that are in the tower right now. Not much should be there, but at least there's some info. One N
So,
only. So okay. Oh, interesting.
okay, so
So
we've got a
this is
tower ID, number of registered users, number of Watchtower appointments, number of responder trackers, and Bitcoin D reachable. True.
okay. So I was actually hoping for some more information to be there, and I think that's from a PR I haven't merged yet. So
Okay.
don't bother. But like,
Nice live testing.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Some of the information you should be able to also see there are the interfaces you're running. So the the onion address and all that stuff. So because otherwise, if the log kind of like goes past and you don't have that information again, then you have to like scroll and so on. So it's not
Oh,
that
okay.
user-friendly.
Okay.
But anyway, at least we know. So let's use the client at least for now, and then we'll see how all that changes. If
Okay.
you go to Alex now, Bob now, sorry, that's where
Yep. Bob. Yep.
the client
Yep.
will
I'm in
install
Bob.
it.
Yep. I'm in Bob.
Okay, you're in Bob. So if
Yeah.
you're in Bob, we should be able to install now. The tower software has been installed. We only have to link it to C-Lining, right? That's where we left it. So in order to do that, we have to kind of like identify this as a plugin. There are multiple ways of doing it in the repo. There are like some ways explained. I think the easiest way to do it is to create a plugin directory under the lining user directory and just like do a symbolic link of the like binary in there. That's for me the easiest thing. So you want
I think we
to
have a
go,
command for this as well, actually. Yeah.
yeah, you just have to just cd. So you go to the user exactly, then do cd.lining.
Yeah.
And here you want to create mkdir plugins.
Yep.
And then you want to do the symbolic link. So that's going to be ln. Oh, there's one space missing there. Let me paste it here. So otherwise it's going to fail. It's ln /s, and then the path where the binary can be found, which is that's missing a dot, by the way. It should be like this.
Home.
A dot at the end. So that's mainly linking that directory where just a space dot, not dot. Yeah. That's linking that binary to dot, which is here. So now if we do ls, we will see that the binary is there, right? And now what we have to do, and I'm praying for it not to crash because it sometimes does it, and I don't want to like have to. We don't have time to do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So we have to restart the daemon, so the daemon can
On the
reload
server.
the plugin. Exactly. So we're going to do it from Docker, not from Polar, because if we do it from Polar, it may fail, right? It may delete all the stuff we've done. So just go to Docker.
Is in the terminal. This terminal here.
No, the Docker
desktop.
thing.
Okay. Docker. Oh, okay.
Go to backend 3.
Backend 3. Yep.
And just if you hit 3 dots in there, just hit restart.
Restart.
And let's hope for it to work, because if it doesn't, then we cannot try it.
Okay. Well, it's restarting. Okay. So we'll.
Not backend 3. It was not backend 3. Sorry, it was Bob, not backend 3. Well, it doesn't matter. We can like rerun it in there too. Just restart Bob.
Restart Bob. Okay. And then we need to run the daemon again.
Yeah, we're
on the
going to need to
server.
run Tor and the daemon again, mainly because I fucked up.
No, that's okay.
We want to go
So
to the.
do I just do TLD again?
Yeah, you have to log in again into the
Oh, have
daemon.
I logged? Oh, is it logged me out? Oh,
The terminal may have logged you out. Yeah.
oh no. Okay, let me close a few of these because I'm getting lost a bit here. Okay.
And do the screen thing.
So I need to. Okay, so I need to. I've opened a fresh terminal for my server now for the Bitcoin backend. So find my Bitcoin user again. Do bin/bash cd into my TOS directory.
You don't have to like cd now. Just you can run it from here. Just
Oh,
run.
yeah, of course, it's global. Yeah.
Run
Okay.
the screen for Tor and run TSD, and that should be it.
Okay, let me run first.
Control AD to detach, and then TSD. That should do it.
TSD. Cool. Makes sense.
Okay. So now we want to go to Bob, which should have the client enabled.
Bob. Yeah. See lightning. Okay. I think let's just make sure. I think I'm with Bob now. Yep. Okay.
Now, if this works, our RPC commands should be there because C-Lightning should have loaded the plugin. So one way of checking it out would be Lightning CLI list towers. And something is not working from CLN, right?
Okay, so
it was gonna fail.
Moving into home. So did we?
What? Let's see. What's going on?
So it's saying no such file or directory.
Oh, maybe it doesn't know that we are running on Rectest or something. Shouldn't be, right? Going to home, lining, dot lining, Bitcoin, no such file directory.
Go into that.
No, I guess when it says Bitcoin is because it's trying to like do it with mainnet, and we're running this on Rectest. So maybe we have to do.
Although does not Polar doesn't do that. Or should do that for us automatically, right?
Oh, maybe. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's true. Instead of doing it from here, do it from Polar, because I think Polar actually does some.
Yeah. Okay.
Some aliasing, so you don't have to.
This might be a bit annoying because it's going to be small, but
yeah, that's how it works. Well, instead of that, do this, and then that will work. Let's alias it in the same way as Polar does, so you can have a bigger string. Do that on your old terminal. That should work.
So do I open the terminal here first, or can I just type?
No, just in the terminal you were, the one that was outside Polar. Just run that alias thing.
Okay.
That's mainly going to run Lightning CLI with network Rectest, which is what we are actually doing. Because the issue was that it was trying to run on mainnet, and mainnet was not set up, right?
Yeah, got you. Now we can call list hours. Yep.
That should give you what?
Okay. But this is a different. This is a different error.
Oh no, sorry. Wait, no, it's the same thing, right?
Well, it's saying unknown command, so I might have just typed the command wrong. List towers?
No, it could be either it's wrongly typed or the plugin is not loaded. So that's what I'm wondering. Can you try it again? Let's see. I feel like no, that's probably.
Does that look right to you?
Yeah. What? Okay, something is not working. No, that's the tower part, so that should be
yeah.
okay.
So that's fine. Yeah, that's okay.
Can I see can you go to dot lining? CD dot
Yeah.
lining.
CD.
Can you do ls? That's called plugins, right? Yeah. Oh, I see why. You did the symbolic link outside the plugin folder. Can you see that the Watchtower plugin? Can you go to cd in plugins?
Let's see.
ls? Yeah, it's not there. That's why.
Okay.
So you should have done the symbolic link in there, and that should have worked. I mean, I don't know how we are in time. Otherwise, I can share my screen and we can see how it is, because you have to read. You have to do the symbolic link, restart, and do this whole thing again.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll probably run out of time to do that, but let's maybe we can flip over to your screen quickly and just show the last little final piece.
Let's do that just in 5 minutes, and that should be okay.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. Should I share the entire screen or just one?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's share the entire screen.
Okay.
So what you should have seen, it's mainly this. If you do list towers, then you have no tower, right? That's mainly because you haven't registered to anything. So what we actually want to do is to register to one tower. And I think my IP was, I don't even remember. Let me see. Let's see. Sorry. That's it. Okay. Right. So what we can do now is register within the tower, right? And in order to do that, what we do is lining CLI register tower. Now we need the tower ID first, and that's in here, tower ID.
Okay.
That's something that we also get when we do get tower info. So all this info that I didn't know, that's why that get tower info was also giving you the interfaces and so on, because it was kind of like a pain in the ass to have to go through here instead of just lining Theo CLI and getting that information. Okay. So mainly what you do, if you're not connecting to Tor, you do ID add address, and then you can, if the port is not the default port, you also need to set the port as well. We're running on default, so it shouldn't matter. Okay. So if we do that, we will get a registration. So this is our user ID, which was ephemeral. It was generated in an ephemeral way. That doesn't have to do anything with our node ID, and we can actually check that in Polar. So Bob should have a completely different user ID, node ID. I don't know exactly where that is, but here it is. The public key is 037A whatever. And this is something completely different. Okay. So if we go to the tower backend, we will see how we have received. We have received a register request, and we have succeeded on responding this. Actually, one thing I can do. Let me see. I can run this as debug, so you can see more information. Yeah, if I do it again, since this is free, you can register as many times as you want, and you will add some more slots. If I do it again, I get 10K more slots and more expiry for the subscription. So mainly the information you get, you get that you have received some information, you have stored the user, and you get the response here if you really care to see what was that.
And we're getting no new tip best found a lot because we've not mined any new blocks and stuff.
Exactly. Right? So, and this is doing it so much because we set the delta to 1, right? So all these things normally don't show. This is just for the bug.
So if you was to mine a few blocks and stuff, that would change.
Yeah, I'm gonna mine a block now, and you'll see what happens. We can do. Can we do it from? We can do it from Polar, right? So if I just quick mine one, we should get. See.
Nice. Okay.
From the tower, so cool. The different, nice. The different things in the tower have received the log and so on. The different actors.
Fantastic.
So yeah, that's how you
Okay.
register. And the only thing, I mean, since we don't have much time, one thing that I really would like to do is actually see how the user sends information to the tower. So this is done like implicitly, so you don't have to do anything but paying, and that's how it should be done.
Okay.
So for example, if Bob generates an invoice for Alice, right? And we can do this now. Create one invoice for 50K Satoshis, for example. Let's do 100K. Why not? We feel okay. We can pay this from Alice, right? So the tower should be receiving like appointment information from every single payment that Alice and Bob share, because every single payment can be breached, every single state can be breached, right? So if Alice pays this invoice, invoice, okay, and we do this, that has succeeded, right? And we should have received some information in the tower. Okay, so we actually did. You see, we didn't do anything from our node. It was just generating the invoice and paying it from Alice.
Yeah.
But then the tower has received some things on the add appointment endpoint. We haven't talked much about the endpoints that the tower has, but this is where like the payment information comes. And it has like stored this. If you notice, it has received 2 appointments for the payment. And this is because for every single payment, you actually update the state of the channel twice. Once you add the HLC, and after that you like allocate the HLC wherever it belongs, right? So it's adding the HLC and like confirming, let's say, or settling the HLC, meaning that for every single payment you will send 2 pieces of information to the tower, right? We can check that this actually has happened using the Lightning CLI here. So we can do, for example, Lightning CLI. Sorry, let me copy the ID. You can do get tower info with the tower ID, and we'll see that we have 2 slots less than we had when we registered, right? Here.
Okay.
We have the appointments, which are identified by these 2 locators. Those are the 16 most significant bytes of the commitment transaction ID. So that's how the tower is going to try to detect if there's a breach. And these here are mainly signatures from the tower. So one different from other tower implementations is that actually all the interactions between the user and the tower are signed. So the tower doesn't actually react to something. The user can prove that the tower should have reacted, and that's not happening. So you can like backslash the tower like with some kind of like reputation system or something you can build on top of it.
Cool.
So yeah.
Okay, that's wow, that was a deep dive. I've learned so much in this in this demo, man. But I've got to give you kudos, man. Like it runs super smoothly. Like other than like just setting up commands and doing all that kind of stuff, it like seems to work really, really well.
I think it does. Like most of the time we've spent has been like mainly installing dependencies.
Yeah.
So, like after that, you have to like run like 3 commands and everything starts working.
Exactly.
You
And
can always like do a follow-up with like all the things that can be done and so on. If you
I was gonna say like we can do a part 2 in the future to get like to the exciting bit of when a counterparty actually tries to steal your funds and like broadcasting the correct transaction, penalty transaction, all that good stuff. That would be fantastic. All right, cool. We'll leave it there. But any like information or any follow-up you'd want to leave like people watching it? How can they get involved in the project? Like what's the best way to start? Like Discord, GitHub?
I think GitHub is the place to go. Like I always try to like have good first issues on GitHub. So when I find like things that may be easy to fix and may help someone new to get a little bit like used to the project, I don't do it myself. I kind of like let it hang there for like maybe 1-2 months, and then if it's not critical, I don't mind, right? So it's a good way of encouraging people to like fix things that to get a first commit in the project, which is something like normally quite exciting. We use Discord now for communication, so they can go to Discord. I think the channel is called the Satoshi.
Do you have a link on your GitHub for that anyway?
There should be a link on the GitHub. Let me
cool.
see.
Okay.
There's no link on the GitHub, but there's a link on the Taraya Labs.
Okay, no problem. I'll put it in the show notes anyway on the YouTube and stuff anyway, so people can.
Anyway, I mean, now that you mention it, there should be a link on the GitHub, so I will add it. That's something that should be there.
Okay, cool.
I'm also thinking of maybe like creating a Telegram group so like people can kind of like share their experiences running it, or like ask me things like more quickly or something like that. So
Okay,
that
cool.
In the near future. Or just
and this is close, and this is close to being production ready, launched on Core Lightning. Right, we're getting very close.
It is like I haven't shown it, but like I'm running a Watchtower right now in mainnet, which I deployed like a month or so ago, mainly so people can try it out. So I mean, it's been ready for months. Like it was first built in Python and now in Rust. Even the Python version was ready. This is like way more efficient, let's say. But like the builds and bolts for it to work have been there for almost a year, I would say, even more than a year. People are getting, one of the things that we actually like added recently that I think have made some people really interested in it is that it used to be the case where you had to run this using full transaction indexing. So you needed a full blockchain copy plus transaction indexing, meaning that you needed like 450-ish gigabytes of data to deploy the tower. A month ago or so, we implemented a solution without transaction indexing. So we have kind of like a small internal transaction index within the tower that allows us to run it with a prune node, meaning that right now you can just run it with like 5 gigs or something like that. For example, the tower I'm running there on mainnet. Let me just do a quick check. Let me see. SSH. 1 sec.
So you definitely encourage people to start deploying on mainnet if they can. Like,
I think. I mean, you're not like losing anything by trying. It's not like
got you.
You're gonna have like less security. I mean, if words to the words, you're gonna have the same, right? So
cool. Fantastic. Okay. In the interest of the time, we'll stop there. But I'll definitely put links to GitHub and the Discord and any other thing you want me to in the description on the YouTube and stuff. But this has been.
Let me share the screen for like 30 seconds so I can like show you.
Do it.
I wanted to show. Do it. So this is. Let me see. Can you see this?
Let me get it up now. Okay, cool. I'm with you.
So this is the live instance I'm running on AWS now. So those are like the things I was telling you that are not showing there because the PR may not be merged yet. But I'm running, like experimental stuff. So that thing is there. But what is interesting is that you see this has been running for around a month. It has like 11 users. It has almost 330K appointments here, right? So this is around 115K payments that has been backed up in Tower, because as I said, like every payment needs 2 appointments. But the interesting thing about this is that since now you can run it with prune mode, if you check like how big the database for this is, sorry, that's like 150 megs. That's nothing. So the entry like requirement before was like 450 gigabytes. Now you're just running like 5 gigs of blockchain of like UTXO plus like almost nothing by backing up data. So I would say try it out. If it doesn't work, if someone like floods you and like it's trying to DOS you can always like shut it down. Otherwise, you can like play around with it.
You don't know much about like the profile of the users, whether they have like minimal number of channel or lots of channels. You don't really know much about.
I don't really know. That's the whole point, right? I have no clue about like what people is doing. I can like query one user and see how they have like a shit ton of backups. I was like playing around this morning and I saw like one that may have had like thousands of channel updates there. I mean, I have no clue who they are, like, and I really don't care.
Wow. Okay. All right. Cool, man. This is great work. Great work. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll leave it there, but feel free to reach out to Sergi on Twitter, on GitHub, on Discord. Come and join the community. I think the TOS kind of community is slowly growing. Like, you're building up a bit of a community on Discord, and you said you're gonna start Telegram and stuff. So yeah, look forward to it growing. And yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do a part 2 to get into some of the
I'm really excited about
even more exciting stuff around the Eye of Satoshi. But yeah, man, thank you for your time. And
Thank you for inviting me.
hopefully, yeah, no problem, man. And hopefully, see you around soon. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. See you around. Bye. Okay.